Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is part 7 of Her, Sero, ex-female listener. Enjoy. I'm so sorry, Yin, Sero said sadly as he held you close. I shouldn't have left you alone. Not even for a second. Not even in my locked room. I'm okay. He is a problem though, isn't he? You mumbled into Sero's shirt. He nodded and turned his head to look at Mina. Can Yin please stay with you tonight, Mina? I trust you'll make sure she's safe, he said, begging her with his eyes. Of course, Mina replied brightly. We'll have a good time together, right, Yin? By then you had pulled your head back to look at Mina and gave her a warm, grateful smile. Yeah, he replied to her, just as happily as she had greeted you. Okay, thank you, Mina. I'll bring her to your room at curfew, Sero said, but for now I'm kind of hungry. What about you, Yin? You didn't want to admit that you were starting to feel a little faint from hunger, and so masked your reply with a casual tone to make it sound like you weren't dying of starvation. I guess so, you said calmly, but the sudden rumble from your tummy gave you away. Sero smiled. Even your tummy rumbling makes a cute sound, he said shyly. You were embarrassed, but also flattered, and you let him go so that you could look down with hands together in front of you while twisting the toe of your shoe into the carpet. Sorry, my tummy has other ideas about food, you mumbled shyly. Come on, let's go to the kitchen. I'll make us something. If we're lucky, Sato may have made a cake or something, or Momo may have left some really flashy chocolates in the cupboard. Now, with a solid purpose on the agenda, Sero took your hand, said goodbye to Mina, and then headed towards the kitchen, knowing that Minetta would be detained for a little while longer. The kitchen was a very decent size, and you stopped in the doorway as Sero let go of your hand while you took it all in. Well, I guess all the students have to cook in here, so it would make sense for it to be large, you thought. Cake. Biscuits, Sero said happily as he walked to the fridge and pulled the door open to see what was in there. I was trying to manifest a cake, but Sato's biscuits are pretty good too. You giggled. He was so cute. What do you feel like eating, Yin? There's plenty to choose from in the walk-in pantry. Come over and have a look. He gave you a smile over his shoulder and gently jerked his head towards the pantry. I don't know, you queried. Truth be told, you could have eaten anything. You were beyond the point of being picky. The pantry was indeed huge, and you stepped in and gazed with saucer-sized eyes at the mouth-watering items in there. I'm going to grab an orange, Sero said, reaching for one in the fruit bowl. And I saw there was some inari sushi in the fridge with a help yourself sign on it, which is awesome. Oh, well, am I allowed to make some ramen? You asked, looking at the packets lined up on the back shelf. Sure, he said. Which flavour do you want? You quickly scanned the different flavours they had and noted your fave was on the next shelf up at the back, top left. But Sero had already seen where you were looking and dispensed his tape, shooting it directly at the packet in question, but the force of his tape, as it connected with your desired packet on the shelf, made it swing wildly and bump the other packets next to it, making 4 of them wobble and fall off the shelf together. Now, a falling packet of ramen isn't going to cause any injuries. Well, might cause a solid smack to the head or shoulder, but that would be about it. But Sero still felt the need to protect you, and threw himself between you and the packets so that he could cop the brunt of their fall, and you'd be spared, in the process caging you with his arms. You let out a small peep of surprise as packets came crashing down around you, while Sero kept you covered and stood still, waiting for the raining ramen to stop. Sorry, I didn't realise they were all going to fall like that, Sero said apologetically, looking down at you under his arms. It's okay, thank you for saving me, you replied, smiling at him. He bent his head a little to kiss you, and you returned the kiss, but then a shout in the hall stopped you both. Sero! Look out, he's free! The petrified voice of Denki called. Not again, Sero muttered quickly, stepping away from you and grabbing for the pantry door to close it on you both. Don't worry, he won't find us here. But no sooner had he spoken, the heavy breathing and mild thump of a toddler-sized person could be heard just outside the kitchen. I can smell her. She's here. The out-of-breath menace panted, stalking around the kitchen. What a weirdo. Why is he so persistent? You wondered, shrinking back against the back shelf. Minetta, bro, come on. What are you doing? They're not here. Just come back to my room, yeah? We can hang out, tell dirty jokes, watch some good stuff on my computer, right? Right? Hey, are you listening to me? Kaminari was doing his best to gain control of the situation. Just want just want to touch her legs, Mineta panted with need, his voice sounding almost possessed by the lurid passion that was now coursing through him. Your arms tingled with fear, and the hair on the back of your neck stood on end. Is this what it's like to have a perverted stalker following you around? You wondered. Just then your stomach growled super loudly, and Sero turned his head quickly to look at you. At the same time, you grabbed for your belly. She's in there! She's in the pantry! Mineta screamed. Kaminari dove for him, just as he got to the pantry door and opened it, and Sero let fly with a punch, but missed Mineta and got Kaminari instead, causing a whole heap of confusion as Kaminari tripped and fell onto Mineta and got stuck to his hair, while Sero simultaneously apologised to Kaminari but booted Mineta with his foot. Yin! Sero yelled, extending his tape and wrapping it around your wrist. Hold on! I'm getting you out! And with that, you were whisked over the fallen classmates and dropped right next to Sero, who recalled his tape quirk and took your hand, and then you ran like the wind. Why can't they just keep it contained? Sero panted as he ran. Why does he keep getting out? Come back, you sexy, sexy girl! Mineta could be heard screaming, managing to pull himself out from underneath Kaminari and giving chase. Sero! You screeched. Hurry, he's coming! Gosh, what a nightmare. I'm sorry I've made the villain so utterly terrifying. Hope you can all sleep tonight. I'm being sarcastic. But still, Mineta's pretty scary. But do stay tuned for part 8 tomorrow. We'll see how it all pans out. See you then.